my past, so they listen to my song. So let's go back to where it began and where it all started from. Take this chance, one last dance, cause I've been waiting way too long. Take my hand, I wanna show you something. Promise I've been dying to see ya. They say the grass ain't always greener. I guess what they're saying is true. In my dreams, that's where I seen her. Take my heart and take all of me, girl. Let me show you what I wanna do. I wanna spend the rest of my life with you. Are you listening, darling? Look where we started. Breaking in half, left us broken hearted. So where do we go from here? Are you listening, darling? Look where we started. Breaking in half, left us broken hearted. So where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Yeah, where do we go from here? Are you listening, darling? Are you listening, darling? Are you listening, darling? Look where we started. Breaking in half, left us broken hearted. So where do we go from here?
Hello and welcome back everybody to yet another live stream where of course we will run through the Bitcoin technical analysis. We will take a look at what is currently going on with Bitcoin, what has been going on, and of course what we can look for in the near-term future as well, and any of course possible trades that I may be interested in taking. So if that does sound interesting, please do smash that thumbs up button. Helps me out, helps the channel out, and of course I can continue to bring this content to you. And yeah, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. But enough of that, let's jump straight on into it and talk about what is going on. So of course today we have seen a really nice rise towards the upside, back above 100,000. This is kind of what we were talking about yesterday, with, of course, price actually looking quite bullish as we were seeing this move down coming into that GP 786. I did say yesterday, you know, it's not a bad spot buy in my opinion. I think this is, you know, a good area to get into a good spot to buy. Again, like I said yesterday, it's not a spot buy that you're looking to hold open for, you know, a considerably long amount of time. Of course, it would kind of just be a bit of a small swing trade, intraday spot buy type trade. Personally, for me, I haven't taken any trade off of that level. Again, like I was saying yesterday, I like to look for confluence when entering into trades, and here there's only 2 bits of confluence here. Of course, G786, which we respected amazingly. And then, of course, if we take a look at the order flow, we can see that, of course, coming into that area of the $94,000 level, again, we can see we were getting huge absorption coming into that level. Of course, we can see more sells coming into the market here. However, price is still looking bullish because, of course, we're still very much in that bullish structure of higher lows. And of course, we saw price come all the way down pretty much to 90,000 here. And yeah, we had a lot less sells coming into the market. So this indicates to us that there is a big player or a series of big players that are, of course, holding the price up and preventing it from going lower by having these big buy limit orders again. And they're, of course, absorbing all of those sells that are coming into the market. Once all of the sells are absorbed, all of the shorts are absorbed, there's only one direction that price can go, and of course that's the opposite direction, which in this case is up. So that's exactly what we've seen. Again, I haven't taken a trade off of this. I would have preferred to have seen a little bit lower. Okay, I would have preferred to have seen that VWAP, that 786, maybe even the naked points of control, kind of that area. That would have been the long down here for me to, of course, take advantage of that, because there's confluence there, right? That for me would have turned into a high probability trade setup. You know, here, not to say it's not a high probability trade setup, it's just in my eyes, you know, less probability because the confluence there is not massive. Okay, the confluence there isn't massive. Like I say all of the time, I like to look for at least 3 bits of confluence, and you know, we only saw 2 bits of confluence, which of course was the GP, and then of course the absorption coming into that GP, which, you know, I do love to look for. But if we had a VWAP there, a naked point of control, that would have just been, you know, the icing on the cake. But yeah, unfortunately, we did not see that. But you know, I don't see any weakness here. Okay, I don't see any weakness here, and I know, you know, maybe the thumbnail was you know, a little bit what the thumbnail yesterday and the title maybe was a little bit yeah, controversial, but I understand what I was saying yesterday is that, you know, we don't actually have any weakness in the market at this moment in time. It is still all strength. So kind of what all I can say right now is I wouldn't actually be all that surprised if we did make a move up to all-time high. Okay, I wouldn't actually be all that surprised if we did, because we're just not seeing any weakness here, right? The only thing that we can kind of take into consideration is that, okay, we have a high, we have a lower high, potential lower high here. We are kind of stalling a little bit here, right? But as long as we get above, you know, that $101,500 level, you know, I think it's pretty easy going up to all-time high from there. So yeah, it's looking, in my opinion, it's looking good to go to all-time high. Again, I'm not going to enter into a trade off of this feeling that we will potentially go to all-time high. Of course, I still have to look for a good trade setup, but it's the case of, right, we can look towards all-time high, and then of course we have the key level there at all-time high, 104,645, where of course we can potentially look for a short trade, right? We do not have a huge inflow of long trades coming in, okay, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to see a huge inflow of longs coming in. That's, you know, in turn what we want to see. So coming into all-time high, we would love to see lots of long trades opening up at all-time high. Again, we'd like to look for lots of long trades opening up, and then of course we want to see some sign of absorption there. So, you know, failed auction, swing failure pattern, right? And of course from there we can kind of look for a potential long squeeze, right? Of course, only if we do get that trade entry trigger, because of course that indicates to us exactly like what we saw here. Okay, that indicates to us that there are big players up there who are selling, right? We sat there with big sell limit orders, right? Exactly like here, okay, over 500 million on Bybit alone. Long trades opened up here. Okay, we formed, of course, that failed auction of the previous all-time high. And what did we see? We saw this huge move down. Okay, that was about a $10,000 move down from the failed auction, but you know, from the high it was like a $14,000 move. So you know, absolutely crazy move because of the amount of long trades that opened up here. Okay, there's just an absurd amount of long trades that opened up. So that's kind of what we can, you know, that's the basis of the trade that we can kind of look for, potentially all-time high. Are we seeing an inflow of long trades like we saw here? You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be as many as 500 million, okay, but it can be 100 million, because we know that 100 million can move the markets. You know, even a less than 100 million can move the markets quite considerably. So yeah, that's something to take into consideration. Let's monitor the long trades coming into all-time high. Let's monitor the longs at all-time high. Of course, that's only if we do see this. And then, of course, if those longs do become trapped, that's when we can kind of look for that short trade. But as I always say, if we do not see those trap traders, let's look for higher prices. Okay, let's look for higher prices. There's no trade to have had. I'll just pull up the chat quickly. Jamie Rogers, good to see you back, my friend. Good to see you back. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of it for the short trade. Of course, that's kind of like the bullish to bearish case. But you know, one thing that I will say, okay, and again, I said this yesterday as well. If we were to get bearish absorption here, okay, because of course, remember yesterday, if you were watching yesterday, I was saying there is a possible short trade from this area here. Now, I have not taken a short trade. I'm not even entertaining, not even thinking about a short trade here because of what I have already said. I don't see any weakness, okay? And if we take a look at the order flow again, okay, there's absolutely no sign of weakness in my opinion, okay, in terms of absorption here. So there's no big players up here. We are seeing longs open up. So if we go back down to the 30-minute, we are of course seeing open interest increasing as price is rising, and you can see it's not pretty, okay, it's not pretty, but okay, it gives us a good understanding of what's moving this market right now. Okay, and of course we can see that positive delta is building over time as well. So we know that long trades are opening up. This in turn is good, right? This is a good move up. This is what we want to see. It's of course only when we get to a key level and then we see an absurd amount of long trades opening up and those long trades become trapped, that's when we have to get a little bit, not necessarily, I was going to say worried, but not necessarily worried. That's when we, start to kind of change our mindset just a tad and think to ourselves, right, this is probably a good opportunity to look for a short trade. But as we are right now, I don't see any major signs of weakness, and I kind of wouldn't be all that surprised if we were to come up all-time high. There's no weakness here. I just don't see the weakness. So it's kind of liquidity, right? We know that price likes to be drawn to liquidity a lot of the time. Previous example is, of course, this big pullback down here. Of course, we came back to this liquidity. We took out this liquidity from what was it? $90,817. Okay, where of course we did form that kind of like swing failure pattern. It's very deep swing failure pattern. It's not really a tradable one, but yeah, we did form this huge swing failure pattern. Okay, and we of course saw a huge rise towards the upside. That is called taking liquidity, sweeping liquidity, right? Price tends to be drawn to liquidity. Price likes to be drawn to liquidity. So all we can look above us is liquidity. Okay, we've got no weakness, we've got no resistance above us. So in turn, we can only really look for all-time high here. So that's kind of the only plan that I have at this moment in time is kind of let's look for all-time high and let's see if there is a possible short trade from there. I mean, the long trade, unfortunately, front run that possible long entry that we would have liked to have seen, which of course was kind of like VWAP. If we got to VWAP. And we respected the levels, and I like the order flow there. Then it's looking really, really nice again for a long trade. But we just did not see that. And I mean, we could pull back down to it, and I'd imagine would still be seeing absorption. So we'd still be seeing big players buying as prices pulling back. So in all honesty, yeah, if we do see a pullback here, I don't think it's a bad opportunity to actually enter into a potential long trade from here, from down there. I still think it's a good opportunity. And I mean, going back to what I was saying as well with forming absorption here, it's a good thing that we're not forming absorption here if you're a bull in this market. Again, I like to try and stay very level-headed, very neutral in the market because I'm looking for trades. I'm not necessarily, of course, I've got my broader perspective and my longer term perspective on the market, and I do have a belief that we will see over 200,000. Whether that comes in 5-10 years, I don't know. I don't really care. I have kind of like a 5 to 10 year plan. That's kind of what it is for me. But in terms of short term, I try to stay very neutral. But if you are a bull and you want to look towards $110,000, and I mean, I still hold a lot of my spot positions as well. I've closed a lot of them, but I still have a nice amount, I would say. And of course, I would of course like to continue to take advantage of those. So it is good for the spot position that I do have that we are not forming the absorption here, because if we were forming the absorption here, I would say that this is actually a much bigger sign of weakness, right? Because we've already seen 500 million long trades here just get absolutely obliterated, okay, on this huge sign of weakness of an incredible amount of, large players or, just a singular one player with a big sell limit order here. If we were to see this continue, that's where I would be getting a little bit, you can call it worried and thinking, okay, right, maybe we're close or maybe this is the top. Okay, but because we're not seeing that, there's no reason to think that. There's no reason to think major sign of weakness here. Okay, I think that if we do go to all-time high, there's actually a possibility that, yeah, we get a pullback and then we could actually continue to all-time highs again, as long as we're not forming that absorption. Okay, as long as we're not seeing this big players sell. Okay, that's kind of when we can continue to look for all-time high. We're still very much in this bullish structure, I would say. Yes, okay, maybe we've taken the low here, okay, but we're still very much in this bullish structure. I don't see any major signs of weakness yet. So yeah, it's kind of just let's see. Okay, let's see. I don't think there's any resistance above us. All-time highs, pretty probable in my eyes. The only thing we do have to be a little bit aware of course, is these series of lower highs. That's the only thing that I would consider being not necessarily weakness. Okay, maybe just a very slight sign of weakness, but yeah, nothing I would say to be extremely worried about. Like I said, there's no other, there's no like real resistance, because of course you can't really look at this as resistance. It's just lower highs, right? But no real resistance here. So yeah, I think the all-time high is on the table. I still think another all-time high is on the table, and then it's what really goes from there. Stock market after that correction is just absolutely smashing, smashing through all resistances that it would have. You can see we've just seen this parabolic move up over the course of today, which of course has been very, very nice for the stock market. Again, that can only be good news for Bitcoin. Ethereum is still lagging behind a little bit, as it has been this whole bull market. But yeah, I mean, on Ethereum as well, looking at the order flow on Ethereum, there's nothing bearish about it at all. More bullish rather than bearish on Ethereum. There's a lot of sells coming in. There's a lot of sells, and there is a lot of people selling Ethereum. And of course, there is quite a big incentive to be selling Ethereum, because it hasn't been performing as well as it did last bull market. Okay, so there is actually a big incentive for people to sell it. Okay, maybe try and make some money elsewhere. Okay, but what we can see is that this is actually, all the sells that are coming into the market are actually just being bought up. Okay, so okay, maybe we're seeing Ethereum lag a little bit here. Okay, but okay, maybe we will see that. Maybe we will see that big kind of like alt season, if you want to call it that, and see Ethereum actually start to kind of outperform Bitcoin, right? Because it's been really, really struggling recently. So it's still not the end of it's still not the end for Ethereum, I don't think. Yes, it's been lagging behind quite a lot, but as time goes on, there's kind of more of an incentive for people to kind of switch out of Ethereum and get into the likes of Bitcoin, or maybe some other altcoins that are outperforming it, because yeah, it's just not doing as well as people kind of projected it to. But like I said, there's no real sign of weakness there at all. Looking at the comments again, Jamie Rogers, I'm really able to understand Excel charts now. Just give it time, and I'm able to work out my own naked points of control. Thank you, brother. Yeah, it's really, really good to hear. In all honesty, because if there was one thing, if I could go back and tell myself one thing to learn, right, when I was first getting into trading, it would, without a shadow of a doubt, 100%. Be just learn the order flow, okay? Because knowing the order flow, understanding the order flow is not going to, of course, guarantee success, but it can massively help with getting success out of this market, because it actually gives you a reason why price is moving up or why price is moving down. When you're looking at what you call retail trading patterns and retail trading charts like this, you can't really grasp much information of why. Okay, of course you can go into like the fundamentals, you look at news. Of course, huge news events aren't happening every single second of the day. Okay, but yeah, fundamentals do move the markets. Okay, so there is a reason why price is rising, because of certain news events. Right, price has been rising recently because, of course, Trump has gone into office, right? But like I said, give you a reason why price is moving every single second of the day, right? Whereas with order flow, you can have a good understanding of why price is actually moving. Okay, what is actually moving price, and how can you kind of capitalize on it? Of course, if you can spot when price is on a probability basis about to move in a certain direction, if you can spot that early, okay, you're going to have a pretty high chance of success in these markets. And that's exactly what the order flow gives you. It gives you an indication of where traders are actually offside, and they're looking pretty likely to get wrecked. They're looking very likely. It's looking very likely that they are going to get wrecked. And that's exactly what I like to look for all of the time when traders are about to get wrecked. And that's what order flow gives you. It also gives you, when big players are buying, right? We know that the smart money in these markets are the ones that make money. Okay, that's why they're called smart money, right? They are the ones that make money in the markets. They are the ones that have been here the longest. They are the ones that are going to be here for the longest amount of time, right? A lot of them, when they're going to be around when we're dead, okay, because they're so huge, okay, so huge, okay, such big players, right, in the world that they're kind of too big to fail, right? There's a lot of these companies that are too big to fail, and a lot of the finance industry, especially the big ones, a lot of them are too big to fail, so they are going to be around for years and years and years and years and years, probably for end of time, right? Well, especially until the end of our time, right? So yeah, spotting where those players are gives you a huge advantage as well, because they're the people that make the money in the market. And if you're doing what they're doing, okay, then you've got a pretty high chance of making profit yourself. And of course, when, which was a good example here, when you see huge liquidations as well, that's another good time to be looking into getting into trades. You can argue, okay, sometimes it's trying to catch a falling knife. I didn't catch this one here because it was just too quick of a move. But when you see huge liquidations, going back to what we were trading, trading the 12-hour back here. So, we saw huge liquidations here. Again, we took long trades from each of these low points here because we saw huge liquidations, right? And when you see huge liquidations, the only way to spot that, okay, is looking at some sort of order flow. Okay, whether it doesn't have to be Exo charts. I know there are many tools out there that can tell you when huge players, a huge portion of the market has been wrecked. And that's what we grasped from the order flow here. We saw huge portions of the markets getting wrecked. We entered into some big long trades here, and we took advantage of these rises here, because what tends to happen after a horribly messy move down is we tend to see a good move up. That's exactly what we saw. We saw lots of people buying, and it works the other way around as well. So let's say that these moves these moves up were really good. Imagine these moves up were really bad. Okay, so these were just shorts getting liquidated, which is what we usually would see in a bear market, right? Of course, we're in a bull market, so we're seeing it on the flip side. But if these were all shorts getting wrecked on the move up, not long trades coming in, then you would actually kind of expect a big move down of lots of shorts coming in, and that's kind of what kind of plays out every single time. Well, I mean, not every single time, but the majority of the time, that's what plays out. So again, looking for when a huge portion of the market has been wrecked is also a really, really good opportunity to look at getting into the market as well. So order flow just gives you it just gives you such an advantage in this market, because you know why price is rising. Okay, we know why price is rising. And if you really go into detail, you can really grasp a good understanding of why price is moving every minute of the day. I don't suggest doing that. I think you probably go a little bit crazy trying to do that. But yeah, I mean, it gives you just a really, really good perspective on the market. Such a great tool, and love this style of trading, been really progressing. Love to hear that, Jamie. Been a bit boring and annoying recently, but we'll get better. I mean, it's the same for myself, right? It's frustrating. I mean, that there have been opportunities, I'd say, but it's a case of taking lower probability trades. And I mean, maybe that's kind of what I should look at doing, taking lower probability trades. I mean, because they haven't, they haven't missed. They actually haven't missed the lower probability trades that we've been kind of looking at. There's so many plans that I've kind of drawn out for the team in daily market updates recently, and it's like we would front run the levels, or we don't quite hit the intended level we want to hit, kind of like this one here. It's a little bit, it's just frustrating, but what we have to remember is we are in price discovery. Price discovery is uncharted territory, and it's just very difficult because everybody's all over the place. It's all just FOMO flying around. It's just a little bit harder to judge. But yeah, I mean, once we get past this and get past this price discovery, price discovery area, I mean, it would be nice to see a big pullback, and of course, looking at that pullback of having bearish structure, and of course, we can easily look to long and short that. We have lots of support below us to look for long trades, and then it's a case of, on that move down, we will be leaving resistance above us. But when you're looking at price discovery here, it's very, very hard, because at this moment in time, we only have one level of resistance above us, and that is all-time high. That's the only level of resistance, and you can't, you can't really, it's not really classed as resistance, okay? Because, if we come up to it, we're likely to surpass it. But there's only one level above us, okay, to look for a short trade. Of course, you can look at these internal highs here. Not interested in these at all. Not interested at all in shorting any of those. Okay, it's looking towards our all-time high. So it's, you've got to be patient here. And then it's a case of, you just surpass all-time high. So much so that there's just no trade there, because the risk to reward in the trade is just blown out the window. So it's a little bit frustrating. So much FOMO on TikTok, YouTube. It's funny to see. Exactly. And I mean, the FOMO, in all honesty, it's been working for everybody. It has been working until it doesn't. At some point, we're going to see a big pullback. We could see a move up to 120K, and then we see it from there. But at some point, we're going to see everybody who has FOMO'd into this market get wrecked. Okay, we're going to see, well, I say everybody, we're going to see a lot of them get wrecked. Okay, and it's kind of like a ticking time bomb. We will see it. We don't know when we will see it. Okay, maybe we will get some signs of when it's going to come. Like I said, if we were seeing big absorption here, that's kind of when I would say to myself, okay, right, this is actually looking quite scary here. We could see quite a considerable pullback here, which of course we would like to look to take advantage of. But like I said, I just don't see any signs of it at this moment in time. So it's okay. Maybe there's more FOMO to come before we then see all of those FOMO traders get wrecked. But yeah, we are we are ready and waiting for that, right? We are ready and waiting for that. One thing I did want to have a look at as well. Was I on crypto there? I think I was on crypto, wasn't I? Yeah, stocks. Let's have a look how MicroStrategy is doing as well, because MicroStrategy is quite a funny stock. Of course, it's going to follow Bitcoin, because their whole business model, their whole business plan is buy Bitcoin, right? But it's really, really interesting why people would buy MicroStrategy as a stock, because you're buying their stock, but it's kind of like you're buying you kind of you kind of buying, you know, one for the price of two. That's kind of how I see it. You're kind of buying one Bitcoin for the price of two when you're buying their stock. You might as well just buy Bitcoin yourself. I don't know what the point of buying MicroStrategy stock is. I know it does performs very, very well, but it's, you know, Bitcoin is doing the same, and all they're doing is investing into Bitcoin. So it's like you're buying, you know, let's say you put an amount in that's worth one Bitcoin, but you're actually not buying one Bitcoin. It's, I mean, you could go into detail with it. It's confusing, but I just don't really see the worth of it. But we're not seeing MicroStrategy really follow Bitcoin here. You know, we're very close to all-time high again, and we're not really seeing MicroStrategy follow it. Which is interesting to see, because, you know, I don't want to get too, again, I'm a trader here. I don't, you know, I don't really look at the fundamentals too much, but it's just interesting to see, because, you know, if this fails, kind of like, you know, what happens to Bitcoin then? You know, if MicroStrategy fails, I think that could be a huge bubble that, you know, maybe I have to do some research into it, and, you know, maybe I could make a video about it. You know, again, it's kind of straying away from what I like to do on a day-to-day basis, which is, of course, look at the technical analysis. But it's just really interesting to see, because what if huge correction, and you know, they are forced to a margin call. They are forced to liquidate. You know, it'd be really, you know, it's quite scary, because, you know, what do they hold? Do they hold 2% of the supply? How much of the supply? How much? Yeah, 2% total supply. Yeah, I don't want to get too fundamental here, but it's not saying that, you know, we are going to see a huge crash in Bitcoin, and that they're going to fail, but it's like, it's really interesting. Maybe I could get into detail with it in another video, but, you know, of course, I need to draw out all of the facts and understanding. But it's just, yeah, it's just a little bit worrying. You know, it's something, of course, I've got my own 5 to 10 year plan, and it's, you know, if we're going to see this kind of possible MicroStrategy bubble pop, if there is one, of course, you know, that could severely, you know, impact on my 5 to 10 year plan. So that's kind of something that I'm considering. Again, I don't think it's anything that we have to worry about now, or anything that we have to worry about in the next, you know, year. We'll see, I guess, you know, where the price is. But, you know, if they're, because, you know, they were close to it back in the bear market. They were close to it, and, you know, they were close to a margin call, or they had a margin call. You know, and it's it is slightly worrying, knowing that they own 2% of the entire supply. So it's just something to be, you know, wary of. Again, nothing. Don't want to panic anybody, but something that I'm just thinking about. When we're out of price discovery, it's going to be a war zone for the people who FOMO'd in. Exactly. And on that huge sign of weakness, if we see it, when we see it, because we will see it at some point, whether it's in a year, whether it's next week, whether it's, you know, in a month, we don't know, we don't care. Once we see it, okay, of course, we can look to enter into, you know, short trading. If I see a major sign of weakness, okay, my plan will be to build. You know, I will build I've got multiple exchanges. I'll allocate one exchange, okay, to building a position up for the bear market. That's, you know, what my plan is. Exactly like I built up a long trade in spot, of course. In this bull market, of course, I can't unless I just go 100% into cash, which, you know, I do go a lot into cash in a bear market, but I will, okay, be looking to, of course, take advantage of that pullback. And the only way to really do it and actually make money as price is going down rather than just sitting on cash is, of course, entering into a short trade. Of course, I'll allocate a exchange to you know, build a nice big short trade where, of course, I won't be looking to take profit on that. I'll have another exchange where I can, of course, take these trades, take profits, but my plan is to kind of build a big short trade for the potential bear market that is going to come. Again, you know, I'm not saying a bear market is here, bear market is coming, but something that I've got to think 5 steps ahead. I've got to prepare for that. So any major sign of weakness, that's when I'll be looking to enter into like a fairly sizable short trade. Okay, and then of course it's as price pulls back, I will take profit on, you know, the more trading portfolio, but the one that is dedicated for the bear market, of course, I will leave the profit in there, look for price to rise again, show, you know, some more signs of weakness. If we're forming some bigger signs of bearish market structure, you know, more absorption as price is rising, and we're still forming, like I said, bearish market structure, you know, that's not looking too good. Maybe I can add to that short trade and, of course, build that up as prices is seeing these you know, rises towards the weak rises towards the upside. And yeah, maybe I can look to take advantage of that. That's kind of the plan. Again, just thinking 5 steps ahead. But yeah, no major sign of weakness here. So it's yeah, it's kind of waiting patiently to see when that major sign of weakness comes, and then of course that's when I can look for, you know, building up that big short trade for the bear market, and then yeah, war zone. That's where it is. That's when we can see a whole load of people getting wrecked, a whole load of people that FOMO'd in here, getting wrecked. But yeah, I mean, we have to also take into consideration that that's exactly what we saw here. We saw all of these guys get wrecked. Okay, and then we saw another move back up to all-time high before the bear market then started. Because yeah, here it was just FOMO, just a huge amount of FOMO. What were we seeing up here? Okay, we were actually seeing consolidation up here, right? And we were seeing large levels of absorption here. Okay, I can't go back to the order flow there, but you can see it with this swing value pattern here because there was big players with big sell limit orders up here. Okay, and that's exactly what we saw up here as well. Okay, you can tell by these big swing value patterns, right? So that is the weakness. Okay, that initially we would like to see. Okay, maybe there is some, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be that. Maybe there are other signs of weaknesses, but yeah, that's kind of one of them that we can look for that we did see in the previous bull market, which signaled, okay, a big pullback, and then of course signaled the bear market, right? So those are things I will be looking out for, but again, I don't see them yet. So it's yeah, it's patience. So yeah, I mean, like I said, no weakness at this moment in time. I think all-time high is you know, a very realistic target in all honesty, unless we start to form weakness here. But like I said, I don't see any as of yet. So yeah, we will just remain patient, and yeah, we will see. So I will leave that there. Have a lovely rest of your day. I hope, yeah, this gave you some insights into what's kind of going on. I know that past couple of weeks has been very boring. It's been boring for myself. You know, I've kind of just taken a bit of a step back, and yeah, just remain patient and waiting for price to do things that I like to see, and do things that I like to trade, of course, because yeah, there's no point of just trying to be too persistent with it, because you know, if it's not going your way, just take a step back. Again, you know, ever since this channel has been created, I don't think, well, I know for a fact I haven't had a losing month up until November. Okay, so last month, that's the first losing month that I've had ever since this channel was created, which, you know, is a year, or, you know, maybe just under a year. And yeah, of course, it's something that I kind of expected at some point. I think, you know, again, just because you're consistently profitable doesn't mean you're going to be consistently profitable every single month. Of course, you can target that, and, you know, I thought I was on a pretty good win rate there, and of course, you know, all good things do come to an end. But yeah, I mean, patience, and yeah, they will come again. They will come. So yeah, been boring for myself as well, but it's okay. I know that the trades will come. So yeah, have a lovely rest of your day. I hope to see you tomorrow. Any Visionary members, I will see you in the Discord. Hopefully something exciting can happen. Okay, so I can finally be a little bit more active in there. But yeah, we will regroup tomorrow. So yeah, have a lovely rest of your day and see you later. Bye.
Take me home.